Hey Taurus, welcome to your 2022 12-month forecast. We're going to check in here and see what's coming up in 2022 for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I'm also offering individual private 12-month forecasts as well on calendly.com/amethystangelite. We're going to check in, however, here and see what messages are coming up for the general population here, the Taurus collective here for 2022. One more shuffle. I feel like we need one more shuffle. Alrighty, my dears. Let's see. January, please. January 2022 for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And your first card, holy cannoli. Wow. Your first card is the Hierophant. Okay, some of you are like, why? What's the big deal? Those of you that you watch my channel, you've been watching my readings for a while, you've heard me say this. When I'm reading for somebody and their major arcana card comes up for their sign, to me, this is telling me everything that's happening at this moment, or everything that's happening in January, is directly connected to you coming into your power. This is like your revelation. This is like your epiphany. This is like the, oh my gosh, like your full awakening, coming into your power, coming into your authenticity, shaking off any labeling, shaking off any programming, living your life 100% authentically, without guilt, without fear, being in your confidence, falling in love with yourself in a non-narcissistic way, in a healthy way. The things about yourself that you thought were flaws, you actually begin to see that they're actually strengths when applied productively. So when I'm reading for somebody and their major arcana card comes up, it is a massive moment of power. It's a massive moment of taking your power. So we're reading for Taurus, and the Hierophant comes up, right? That's why I laugh. You're like, wow, we're starting off the year strong, Taurus, okay? I'm not a Taurus, but you Taurus are starting off the year strong. This tells me you're coming into the year very clear about who you are, what you want, and very determined. And it's going to take you far. Now, it's a major arcana card. So major arcana cards in general, you're coming into a new chapter. It's a significant time. It's a significant transition. Your angels and guides are around you. And this can, on a traditional level, mean for some of you that you are coming into some level of commitment, some level of, conviction and belief. For me, a lot of the times, the Taurus card, the Hierophant will come up to say that this is a time that you need to make your choices and your decisions based upon your ethics, your principles, your morals. Maybe some of you are coming into January, starting the year off by taking a stand, right? Taking a stand based on your beliefs, based on your convictions. And in doing this, this is going to align you with like-minded people. This is going to align you with people that you can count on, that you can depend on, because you're living your life and you're making your decisions based on your beliefs, and this is going to help align you with others that have your beliefs, that have integrity, that have loyalty, okay? So it's a powerful, powerful energy. Let's see what's coming up here for February. February 2022 for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, please. We have the Seven of Cups. Now, Seven of Cups can come up a lot of the times when we have to make a choice. We have to make a decision. There's a lot of options available to us. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of things coming in. And sometimes we get very paralyzed by that, right? I feel, Taurus, that a lot of you maybe have been stuck for a very long time in your life. And you're feeling the energy shifting. And you're coming into 2022 where you're like, okay, this is the year that there's going to be changes. This is the year that I'm going to start like tailoring my life based upon like what I need and what I want and what's fulfilling to me. But now you're getting stuck in another way. Sometimes when we see Seven of Cups, some people get stuck and stagnant because they feel there's no options, nothing's moving. Then Seven of Cups, you're like, oh my gosh, there's actually so many options, right? The sky's the limit. There's several things I could be doing. And then that's where they kind of get stuck. Like they don't know what to pick. They don't know what to choose. In my experience, a lot of the times this happens because we kind of grow up thinking that we like stupid things or we like things that don't matter or aren't important. Like a little kid, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, auntie, uncle, will you please buy me this cereal? Will you please buy me this toy? No, put it away. I'm not going to spend my money on that garbage, right? They're stressed out. They're in a hurry. They don't have time to think about it. They're not trying to make you look bad or shame you for liking a toy or liking a cereal. But then the kid is like, oh, okay, all right, I guess I like stupid things. I guess what I like is garbage. And then we start to teach ourselves not to want anything. And we're just like, okay, well, what's going to happen? What can I have? What am I allowed to have? And we just start waiting for permission for things, right? Or to be told what we should do or what we should go for. So Seven of Cups, you're like, I don't know what to choose. What if I choose the wrong thing? What if I want something that's stupid? Or, what if other people don't think it's going to be a good thing for me, or they can't envision it for myself? We kind of fall into self-doubt sometimes when we're trying to make this decision. But this is the year of you coming into your power. So that's got to get put behind here. Take some time and write out your goals, write out the options, and one by one imagine yourself, daydream, living that life. Which scenarios, which choices made you feel the happiest when you were envisioning it? Then that way you know what you really want. And then you can start doing the research. Okay, what do I have to do to make this happen? And then you'll have a list knowing which one of these options you can get started on right now. It's doable right now. Which one of these options you're going to have to work towards as a more long-term goal or later in the future goal. And then you're unstuck. You're not stuck anymore, right? With the Seven of Cups, this can also be feeling like you're dreaming, like you're dreaming, like, is this actually happening? Is my luck actually shifting? Are things actually moving? I do feel for some of you something is happening in February that feels quite miraculous. Obviously, this is a general reading, and you guys are all going to have different scenarios and different situations. So it's very hard to get specific in a general reading when I'm reading for so many people. But Spirit is showing me David and Goliath. Okay? If you don't know the story of David and Goliath, David was a young shepherd boy, and there was a giant that was terrorizing the people, and the army couldn't fight it. Like, I guess basically the giant came and challenged and said, we'll go away, we'll retreat if you send your best soldier to fight me, and then whoever wins the war, right? Instead of a bunch of people fighting, instead of a bunch of people dying, we'll leave it to, our best soldier and your best soldier, and whoever wins the war. And so nobody wanted to go up against that giant. And David was like, I'll go. And the armor was too heavy. He couldn't even wear the armor. The sword was too heavy. He couldn't even carry the sword. And he's like, look, I protect my sheep with my little slingshot, and I'm just going to go out there with my slingshot. And it was through, the grace of God and the help of the Spirit that he took down that giant with the slingshot, with the rock in his slingshot. So I feel whatever's happening for you, Taurus, in February, I feel like you're in awe. You feel like you're dreaming that some big obstacle has been removed, and you're like, how on earth did this happen? Or you're standing up in a situation and you're winning, and you weren't expecting to win, but something told you to go for it. I feel there's something quite miraculous happening for a lot of Taurus in February, right? Like you're seeing this giant fall. You're seeing this giant being removed from your path. Your next card here, let's see, March 2020 for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, please. March 2020, for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we have the Five of Cups. Okay? So we feel this miraculous battle. We feel this giant being removed. Okay? And then coming into March, some of you are like, it's not what I thought it was going to be. It didn't go how I was expecting. So you may be dealing with people who are being jealous of you. Or you may be dealing with people who are like, well, why'd you do that? That was a selfish thing to do. Or, oh, you had this good thing happening for you and you're not sharing it with us. You might just kind of feel like the end result or how you were going to be happy, it didn't pan out the way that you had thought. And I keep hearing lack of support, lack of support, lack of support. So as this obstacle is being removed and you're moving forward on your path, some of you are dealing with people who are like, why are you doing this? Or why did you do this? Or, you know, you're being selfish. Or, oh, things are going good for you now, but you're going to fall on your face. And, you know, I'm going to have to tell you I told you so. I'm hearing lack of support as I'm looking at the Five of Cups. I'm not trying to be negative, and I'm not trying to put negativity out there for you, but Taurus, this is going to be especially true for those of you that you're around a lot of negative people, and you're around a lot of toxic people, right? They're going to come in with their criticisms. Now, this is being allowed to happen so that you can check in with your feelings, and you can deal with how it's making you feel. Five of Cups is like we fall into self-medication because we don't want to feel. We try to find some way to distract ourselves from our feelings. We don't want to feel. We don't want to deal with it. And Spirit is saying, avoid that temptation to shut down your feelings, but rather give yourself permission to cry, to be hurt. Give yourself permission, anyone or anything that you need to mourn or release from your life. Because if you push it down, it's going to block you from receiving. It's going to block you from bigger blessing. So this door is opening, and some of you are going to have to kind of mourn who's not going to go with you through that door, or the people or the situations you're leaving behind as you're accepting your miracle. Okay? So it could be a little bit bittersweet here. A little bittersweet. I feel some of you also in the Seven of Cups, you're going into the Seven of Cups as like a plan B. So you might be hoping that some situation is going to pan out or work itself out. And your Seven of Cups is just kind of like, okay, well, what is my backup plan? In case things don't work out, in case things don't pan out, what might I do instead, right? So maybe there's something here happening. I don't know why I heard union strike. I don't know if some of you are in some situation where there's some kind of a union strike. And you're saying, okay, well, like this is temporary. Like this won't drag on too long. The union will figure it out, you know. It always happens where, you know, there's strikes and then they figure stuff out, right? Those of us who are adults, I'm sure we've seen many different union strikes on the news for different industries, and some drag out for a long time, but eventually there seems to be a decision or agreement where the workers go back. However, in this case and in this instance, either you don't agree with what the union is agreeing with and you're deciding to step away and say, I'm not returning, I'm resigning. Or the union, there could be something very historical here where the union does not come to an agreement, and maybe they're going to go into litigation, and it's going to be like a whole drawn out process, and you're like, holy crap, like I thought that it was going to be taken care of by now. I didn't think it was going to drag out like this. So now I got to get serious about those Seven of Cups. I had a plan and I got to start working the plan. And some of you are not happy about it. But please know and please understand that Spirit is giving us a sense that this is a miracle for you. This thing that you were putting your hope or your faith in is being removed because it's not meant for you to have your hope or your faith in it, because there's something better. So I feel like some of you are like, oh man, I had my plan B or my plan C in place to kind of control my anxiety, just to like make me feel better, but I really didn't think I was going to have to do it. I think for a lot of you Taurus, come March, you're like, okay, here it goes. We actually have to do it. We actually have to go through with plan B. That's the feeling and the vibe I'm getting. Let's see, April 2022 for Taurus. April 2022 for Taurus. We have the Five of Swords. Burning of bridges, power struggles, battles that can come with high price, high stake battles. Okay? This can also be feeling triggered by a situation. So there could be people who are telling you, Taurus, you know, suck it up. Just go back and just do this. Like, just deal with it. And you're like, no. It doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right to me. I don't agree with this. I don't want to do this. Right? I'm going in a different direction. Some of you might be having, you know, God forbid, knock on wood, but some of you might be having a lot of pressure coming into your marriage because of these choices or these decisions, right? Somebody's looking at you like, don't be a martyr, don't be a hero. And you're like, but this is my conviction, this is my belief. So I feel there could be here disagreements, power struggles. Some of you might be personally wanting to change and making progress in your life, but you may be dealing with a narcissistic person, unfortunately, who sees you making progress, and they're intentionally trying to kind of deflate you a little bit, kind of like trying to get you to lose faith in yourself or lose steam. Sometimes that'll happen, okay? Like, you start to get some confidence, you start to make some progress, and this person's like, oh, not so fast, Taurus. Where do you think you're going, right? And they might start to come in and say really negative things, or minimize your accomplishment, or say things or do things like, oh, okay, okay. For example, right? Say you started a business and you got in some orders, and you're really excited about that. And you're like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm so happy. I have a new client, and they're going to be, you know, ordering from me. And, you know, I kind of got this contract going here. And the person's like, oh, that's nice. Well, I guess you only need 100 more before you can actually make a living and you won't be homeless. You know, they might say something like that. Like, you're all happy. You're celebrating this success. And the person comes in like all sarcastically, like, oh, wow, big deal. Talk to me when you actually have an actual like roster of clients that means something or matters, right? It's such a disgusting way to discourage somebody, because it's like you have this victory and they're making it out like your victory is like insignificant. Understand and know, those of you who are dealing with this, this is like a manipulation tactic. They know exactly what they're doing. And they know that, oh wow, Taurus is making progress. Well, I gotta discourage Taurus. Otherwise, Taurus is gonna keep making progress. Then they're gonna get another client, another client, another client. And before you know it, they're gonna be gone. They're not gonna need me anymore. So when you find yourself getting triggered in this situation, whether you're dealing with a narcissistic person, or a stressful work situation, or a family situation where you're getting triggered and you're starting to feel hopeless. You're like, I started off the year strong, I believed in myself, but people don't seem to be believing in me. It's kind of starting to get to me. They're discouraging me. They're saying or they're doing things that are pushing my buttons and that are triggering me. If you can, take a step aside and start to journal it out a little bit. What happened? Who was involved? What did they say? How did it make you feel about yourself? Who else in your life in the past, as far back as you can remember, has made you feel this way before? Why do you think they're doing it? Why do you think they're behaving this way, saying these things, doing these things? Then go ahead and write out where you're releasing them of any expectation. You're forgiving them. You're letting it go. You're understanding why they're doing it. You're not going to internalize it. Forgive yourself if you're blaming yourself for anything. How you responded, how you reacted, if you're mad at yourself because you trusted them or believed in them, whatever it might be. Forgive yourself. And then at the end, write out how you're choosing to feel about yourself and how you're choosing to feel about the situation from now on moving forward. If you can do that, you're going to deactivate that trigger. And this person can try as much as they want to discourage you, but they're not going to be able to discourage you because you've worked it out. You've processed it. They're not going to have that effect on you anymore. So I feel that there's a chance and an opportunity here to really kind of break out of this negative influence or, people who try to manipulate you or discourage you. In fact, we know this year is about you taking back your power. Okay, let's see what's happening in May. Please show us May 2022 for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We have the Tower. Okay. Now, I feel that you're already coming into, if I'm being honest, if there's like relationships ending or leaving a job or breaking up with someone, I feel like that's already happening in April. Okay? I feel that in May, there could be a tower of an ending for anybody who's not taking the action and not moving forward. But I feel for the majority of you, the tower in May is the opportunity coming in where you're free. You're free of a situation and you're doing something new. You're doing something that feels very big. Keep in mind, the Tower card just basically means that it's a permanent change in your life. Like your life is never going to be the same again and you're being pushed out of your comfort zone. This can be really good things. Promotions, meeting your soulmate, getting married, having a child, retiring, moving to another country or another state or another city, buying a house, launching a successful business, right? It can be really good things, but it's things that are pushing you out of your comfort zone and things that are forever changing your life. I feel that some of you might even be doing something in May that feels to me like some kind of spiritual journey, okay? Like if you're doing like soul retrieval with a shaman, or you're going to some kind of spiritual retreat, or you're doing some kind of like, gosh, I have to be careful what I say. Some of you might be taking a holistical or herbal plant-based plant medicine approach under the direction of a shaman that is like a journey, spiritual journey, soul retrieval. Some of you may be traveling to a place to do this, or you might be finding somebody in your area that does this, preferably licensed to do this. It is my understanding that some states there are certain laws or loopholes that allow individuals to get licensed in doing this. We might be seeing an increase in that coming up, right? But I feel here there's some kind of awakening, like a spiritual awakening where you're like, everything makes sense now. Everything makes sense. I see very clearly, like this whole illusion of yourself is changing, how you perceived yourself, and seeing who you truly are. I just feel there's this massive epiphany happening for Taurus in 2022, and you think you have it in the beginning of the year, and it's well underway. But I feel the real awakening, the real realization of who you are is going to be happening in May for a lot of you. And for some of you, it can be through some kind of spiritual retreat, work with an energy healer, with a shaman, plant-based medicines, as I said, or like certain kinds of teas that are being given people. I have to be cautious what I say, but I think you guys know what I mean, okay? But I just feel it's a massive awakening, and just like this whole thing of like, I'm out of the illusion. It feels to me like whatever is happening in May, like you're full on disconnecting from the matrix. That's the vibe I'm getting for Taurus with the Tower in May. Okay? Let's see what's happening here June 2022 for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, please. We have 5 of Pentacles, and this is stepping out into the unknown. Okay? Oftentimes, the 5 of Pentacles can come up during times of financial uncertainty, where somebody might be going into uncertain self-employment or uncertain career change. I think a lot of people are going to be dealing with that in 2022 because the economy is changing. Commerce is changing. The way we do business is changing. Therefore, a lot of people were going to be affected by that on a personal level. It might be a good idea for you, Taurus, to start looking into how money works and listening to a lot of the lectures and information that financial experts are beginning to put out. It's out there. It might not be getting circulated as much as it should be, but there's going to be a lot of economic changes all around the world, whatever country you're in. Okay, it might be most shocking for those of us in the United States because we're used to life being the way that it's been before 2020, right? And the whole system is changing. Money is changing. So to be prepared for that might be a good idea to look into what financial experts are saying and predicting. Okay? Now, the 5 of Pentacles tells us that even though we're coming into uncertain times, we're going out into the unknown, and it can feel kind of lonely. We might feel like I said, lack of support. We might not feel like there's a lot of people that have our back. But as we begin on that journey, as we start stepping out into the unknown, we find our support. We find like-minded people. We find people who are going through the same journey as us. And some of you have heard me refer to the 5 of Pentacles as the Wizard of Oz card, right? Dorothy is lost. She's walking down the path, trying to find her way. She comes across a group of very unlikely characters that become like family for her. And they stick together. And they overcome so many challenges and so many obstacles. Right? They get each other through it. Please excuse that noise. It's my monster of a heater. I'm kind of like away from civilization, or at least for me. I'm a big city girl. I'm not in a big city, so I don't know what this contraption is that's been put together here, but I'm grateful to have it because it is cold. I will say this, my dears. As I said, like, you're going to overcome these challenging times, these difficulties, and you're going to have people who have your back, right? The true blue friends. And then one day you look back and you're like, you can laugh about the challenges. You can laugh about the ways that you were very creative and put together things to get by. Some of you might be worried about there being something similar to a depression, okay? Like we refer to as the Great Depression, and some people are worried that we might be coming into that kind of cycle or that kind of system, okay? Supply chain, gonna take a while, before we see a supply chain like what we might be used to in the US. But I remind you of this. I know it sounds terrifying to think of there being economic turmoil or there being some kind of a Great Depression, but I remind you of this, that many people got through the Depression through being very creative, coming up with things. They had like a water pie. Somebody figured out how to make pie out of water and flour and sugar and actually like tasted good, right? Like there's all kinds of Great Depression recipes and things that people put together with what they had. So, and people would come together and they would help each other, right? It was very common back then. And maybe in some countries it's still like that, but like in the US, we're used to having more, right? But back then, like, every month they would have like a group birthday for all the kids, and the parents would come together and they would get like one cake, and they would make like one cake with what they had, and they would share it, and so there was a sense of community coming together, people helping each other, getting creative with what you had. So even though it's challenging, people got through it. Okay, people got through it. And some of you Taurus, maybe it's not going to be that extreme as like a Great Depression, but you might feel that in 2022 because of the changes that are happening in your own life and the stance that you're having to take and the way the economy is changing. It might feel to you like, man, I'm not used to having to budget this hard. I'm not used to having to like scrimp and save like this. Some of you maybe have had not to worry about money so much for a while. And now you're coming into a time where it's like, okay, I've got to measure, I've got to count, I've got to plan, I've got to ration out. And it can feel a little bit scary. But Five of Pentacles tells us we're going to make it through it just fine. And then we'll even have positive memories about it down the line, right? Even maybe traditions or customs or recipes that are invented out of it. Okay? Let's look at July 2022 for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We have Seven of Wands, see? And Seven of Wands is like you're holding your ground. You're holding it down. Not only are you holding your ground, you're holding it down, you're on top of the hill. You've broken away from the crowd. We talked about breaking away from the matrix, right? Even though it's scary times, you may be doing quite well. There may be other people that want what you have. How'd you get up there? How'd you manage that? How are you getting by okay? Okay, so Seven of Wands is going to maybe tell us that we need to stay our ground and not get involved. People might accuse you. People might try to argue with you or fight with you. Don't get pulled down into the lower vibrational energy. There may also be in your area some type of unrest. Whether it is political, political demonstrations. And when I say political demonstrations, I don't mean specifically a lot of the demonstrations that we've seen in the recent past around like the police or around race and equality. I feel it could be just flat out political, not about race, not about the police. There could just be things here where maybe people are wanting certain representatives put out in your local area, and they're wanting to go to protest to like throw out your mayor or your governor, or just protests against the government. But something about the Seven of Wands makes me feel that for some of you, you are in an area where it might get really aggressive, right? And so you might be thinking, well, maybe I should go and maybe I should like participate. And I feel like Seven of Wands is saying don't get involved, because even though it's starting off with good intentions, if you get close and you start mingling with it, I feel like the people are going to start fighting amongst themselves, right? So this could even be an organization. Maybe it's not protesting in the streets. It could be an organization, an ideology. It could be a church, even for some of you. And they're wanting you to get involved in this, but I don't know. Again, I don't mean to like keep throwing biblical references, but now I'm seeing the Tower of Babel, right? There was the King Nimrod, and he built this tower, and he wanted to kill God. So he climbed to the top of the tower with his bow and arrow, and he shot into the sky thinking he's going to kill God. And they were punished, basically, and everything broke into chaos, and the people started to fight amongst themselves, right? They were all there to wage war with God. And I'm not saying the government is God. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that at all. But the people began to fight amongst themselves. They were there with this negative energy, and the negative energy took over, right? So I just feel, Taurus, like some of you are being told in July not to get involved in this conflict, because even though it might seem like this is an organized group or a peaceful group, I feel a sense that there's going to be like people turning on each other. Maybe even like a paranoia, jealousy, who made you king? Why should we listen to you? I have a better idea. I just feel like you're being told don't get involved. It could be a family situation, but I don't know why I feel like there's some kind of political overtone here, not even an undertone, an overtone, and you're being told do not get involved, do not like take up arms. So I feel here there's like this sense like you're gonna be okay, you're gonna be safe, just don't get involved with what these people are doing or what they're trying to pull you into. And they might say things like you're being a chicken, you're being a coward, you're being a traitor. Don't. And you might even try to reason with them. They're just going to pull you into arguments. They're just going to pull you into fighting. So to me, Seven of Wands is just stay your course. Stay your course. You don't owe anybody an explanation. They don't care about your explanation. They're not here to reason. They're not here to speak logically. They're here to fight. So just don't give it the attention. Stay away from it. All right. Let's see August 2022 for Taurus. Four of Pentacles. Keeping to yourself. Low profile. Okay? This could also be protecting your resources. Okay? So you might have some kind of a storehouse that you've been putting together, and you're realizing that you need to be more cautious and more sparing with your resources for you and your family. Four of Pentacles can sometimes come up when we're not in a position to be generous, or people might accuse us of being selfish or greedy, but we need to hold on to what we have. We need to hold on to what we have. So, as you're coming into August, the good news is that you have what you need, right? But you're having to ration. You're having to use it sparingly, use it organized, use it in a planned way, right? And Four of Pentacles says that as we do this, we're going to be okay. We're going to be all right. We're going to do good, right? We just have to be sparing with what we have. Four of Pentacles can also come up when we need to protect or defend our physical space through boundaries, Okay? So some of you might be some of you might just be not really like having people over your home, or entertaining at your place, or being super social, or mingling with like your neighbors or people in your neighborhood. You may just be kind of like staying in your space. And you know, and for a lot of you, this could be as a part of your healing, or as a part of your spiritual connection, as you're developing your spiritual connection or working on yourself. You may be feeling like you want space, like you need your space. I feel like you're just being a lot more selective of who you're spending time with, who you're socializing with, who you're allowing into your space, who you're allowing into your home. I feel like you're being very selective. Some of you may also, especially those of you who are single, you may be coming into a time of voluntary celibacy, where you're claiming back your body, and you're doing like clearing, you're doing like release of past relationships or past experiences. You may be clearing or healing yourself from childhood experiences, where unfortunately maybe some of you had some traumatic things occur, or adults who did things that they should not have done with you, or to you, I should say, rather. And so a lot of you might be taking on this time of physical celibacy, where you're taking back your body, you're reclaiming your body, and you're releasing everybody from the past, right? Any old love, any old partner, any old lover, you're doing like a clearing. I also feel that some of you in a relationship might be setting intimate boundaries, or boundaries around intimacy. You may have a partner who's trying to get you to do things that you quite simply don't want to do. You're not comfortable doing it. And they might be like, well, if you love me, you would do it. If you love me, you would do it. And maybe in the past, you would be like, oh, well, you know what? I need to keep my partner happy. And, you know, I don't want them to go somewhere else. I don't want them to do it with somebody else. But I feel for some of you, you're having this epiphany, like, wait a minute. Okay, you know, they keep saying if I love them, I will do it. But if they loved me, they wouldn't be making me do something that, you know, overwhelms me, or triggers me, or makes me feel uncomfortable, or causes me pain. So I feel like a lot of you are giving yourself permission that, like, you know, you don't have to do things you don't want to do, right? And some of you might say, look, I'm just really not comfortable doing this. And if it's so important for you in your life, by all means, go ahead and find the person that wants to do it with you. Don't let me hold you back. If it's that important to you, go ahead and go and get it. But I'm not going to be in fear of that, because I know that I have the right to say no. And I deserve to be with someone that's not going to want to hurt me or make me uncomfortable. So I feel there are like boundaries with physical intimacy that a lot of Taurus may be coming into in August. Let's look at September. September, please. September 2022 for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Oopsie. All right. Three of Swords. And this is the release. This is the truth being revealed to you. As we set boundaries, we find out who respects our feelings and who doesn't. And sometimes when we set boundaries, people will accuse us of being selfish, of being greedy, right? They don't realize that they're being selfish or they're being greedy by infringing on us in that way. And because we start to set boundaries, oh, well, you're selfish. Oh, well, you're greedy. Three of Swords for me oftentimes comes when Spirit is showing us the truth about a person or the truth about a situation. Because we've been very loyal, we've been very committed, we've been making sacrifices for that person, that relationship, that organization, that employer, whatever it might be. And Spirit is saying, look, this person, this organization, this job, they don't deserve your loyalty. They don't deserve your commitment. Because look what they're doing behind your back. Look what they're saying when you're not around. I feel like the true colors are being shown to you. Like the stone, the rock is being picked up, and you're seeing underneath all of the worms and all of the bugs and all of the things that are crawling around underneath it. You're seeing the things that have been hidden from you. And Spirit is showing it to you to say, do not unnecessarily suffer for these people. Unfortunately, a lot of us are taught, and it happens to a lot of women who, like little girls, are raised this way, but it happens to men too. There are plenty of men that fall into this false teaching as well, which is like, if you really love somebody, you're going to suffer, right? I don't know why, but there's like this thing is like, oh, well, a relationship, you're going to suffer. You're going to sacrifice. There's truth to that, right? There's no relationship where both people get 100% of what they want all the time. But it shouldn't be an unhealthy, it shouldn't be suffering. Relationships shouldn't be suffering. We might have to make sacrifices. There might be certain things that, we're kind of sad that we give up or we compromise. But we shouldn't necessarily be suffering. Okay? And I know some of you might say, oh, well, the Bible talks about long suffering. We have to look at the context, and we have to also keep in mind that the Bible was not written in English. And that's the translation that we have. And certain languages have words that we don't have in English. So we're reading it as suffering, but the root of the word could mean something very different. And I feel like Spirit is showing you, stop suffering for this person, this cause, this job, this organization. You're giving too much of yourself. And it's been in my experience over the years reading for people that the Three of Swords revelation, the truth being revealed, comes up just before a massive blessing. Because Spirit is saying these people are not meant to sit at the table with you. They are not meant to share in the blessings that are coming your way. They gotta go. They gotta go. One more thing I will say about the Three of Swords, and we will move on. Even though it's painful, even though it's heartache, even though it's sadness and sorrow, and we might feel betrayed, again, in my experience, it's not a long period of depression. It's not a long period of suffering. It's quick. It's quick. We might cry about it for a little bit, but we get it out of our system, and then we're okay, and then we move on. And some of you have heard me say this example before, but when I used to teach preschool and my little babies would be running around the playground and one of them would fall and hurt their knee, they will scream and cry like it is the end of the world, just screaming and crying. They're in pain. They're not pretending. They're not acting. They hurt themselves. Falling, they got embarrassed. They got startled. They got scared. It's real. But you give them a hug, you give them an ice pack and a Band-Aid, and a minute later, they're running around and they're a T-Rex again, or they're a superhero again, or whatever they were playing, Paw Patrol, or I don't know, whatever, right? Like, they completely forget about it, like it didn't even happen. And that's how I see the Three of Swords. In the moment, it's excruciating. But before you know it, you bounce back quickly. It's not something that's gonna follow you or ruin your year. And know that it's happening because the blessing is coming in. And Spirit is showing you who doesn't deserve to share the blessing. Okay? Let's look at the next card here. Was this September? We did January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, September. So October. I'm sorry, let me just make sure here. All right, yeah, so that was September. Let's look at October. I just want to make sure. I don't want to cheat you guys and give you guys like a card less. October 2022. For Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. October 2022. Come on now. All right, October 2022 is the King of Fire. What did I tell you? The King of Wands, right? It's like we have that moment of agony, and then in October, pow, boom, King of Wands, ambition, drive, success, self-made man energy, right? Very passionate, very successful, creative solutions, creative problem solving. Some of you, I will say this, those of you who are having a moment of celibacy, a time of celibacy where you're reclaiming your body, the King of Wands in October could very well be a lover for you, or it could be like a relationship. I'm not talking about like just willy-nilly jumping into bed with somebody. This could be somebody that you're, long-term relationship, marriage. But the fact that they're showing up as King of Wands gives me the sense and the feeling that this is a partner with which you can explore your body in a way that feels safe to you, or explore physical intimacy in a way that feels safe for you. Some of you maybe have been in relationships where you have had partners who've been very selfish in the bedroom. And so this would be the opposite of that. Okay? So for some of you, there's some physical healing of physical intimacy issues. And the King of Wands could be a significant soulmate in that department. Other ones of you, King of Wands is very much that return of the Mac energy, right? Like, my success is coming in. People did me dirty. That's okay. I'm all good. I'm fine. I have, good things happening for me. And I am coming into the time of my success. I'm coming into the time of my power, right? It's making me think of the song Return of the Mac here with the King of Wands. So just like I said, even though there might be this moment in September where a truth is being revealed and we feel betrayed, you're bouncing back quickly here. You're bouncing back very quickly, right? By October, you're on top again. Let's see November 2022, please, for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. 6 of Pentacles. This is a high level of success. This could also be receiving some level of generosity, right? Somebody might be believing in you, taking a chance on you in terms of like giving you resources or finances, or like a brick and mortar space to do something in terms of business or some kind of a program. This is so specific. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I feel like some of you are getting supports or grants or assistance in putting together some kind of a school or training facility, okay? But I feel some of you are receiving generosity to see some vision through. Something in terms of business, in terms of improving the community. And some of you are stepping into where you have this flow of abundance, right? A windfall of money or a windfall of resources. And you're going to have, you're not in that 5 of Pentacles anymore. Now you have money and resources saved for the future. Money and resources continue to come in. And you're able to, keep up with expenses, but also have extra to where you can travel or treat yourself or help other people or be generous to other people, right? So it's a chance that there's a blessing coming in for you and you're going to have the chance to bless others. Let's look at December. December 2022 for Taurus, please. The Sun. Woo! Now you're starting off the year strong. There's going to be a bit of a roller coaster, but you're ending the year strong. And this is freedom. This is success. This is triumph, right? This is the ability to travel. This is true love. This is the happy and healed inner child. This is like making a name for yourself, being seen, being recognized. You're not in hiding anymore. You're ready to receive praise and credit and positive attention, true love, happiness, freedom, opposite of codependency, very successful energy, very happy energy with the Sun. Okay, so Taurus, you may want to check out your moon sign and rising sign videos. Maybe that might resonate for you more than your sun sign, or it can always add just a little extra information for your personal placements, your personal energetic makeup. You may need a private reading, which I'm more than happy to do for you. I am offering a private 12-month forecast, like a personal 12-month reading like this, you know, a card for each month. And I am going to be obviously still continuing the other readings that I offer. So whether you want a 12-month reading or some other kind of reading, you can go to calendly.com/amethystangelite and schedule a private reading with me there. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy 2020.